Reading through the Bible in 1 year, July 12th, Joshua 16 through 17, Psalm 148, Jeremiah chapter 8, and Matthew 22. Then the lot for the sons of Joseph went out from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho, on the east into the wilderness, going up from Jericho through the hill country to Bethel. And it went out from Bethel to Luz, and passed on to the border of the Archites at Ataroth. Then it went down westward to the territory of the Japhletites, there we go, as far as the territory of lower Beth Horon, even to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. So the sons of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim received their inheritance. Now this was the territory of the sons of Ephraim, according to their families. The border of their inheritance eastward was Ataroth Adar, as far as upper Beth Horon. Then the border went westward at Mikmathoth on the north, and the border turned about eastward to Taanoth Shiloh, and passed on beyond it to the east of Genoa. And it went on it went down from Genoa to Ataroth and to Nearah, and reached Jericho, and came out at the Jordan. From Tappuah, the border continued westward to the brook of Kanah, and it ended at the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribes of the sons of Ephraim according to their families, together with the cities which were set apart for the sons of Ephraim in the midst of the inheritance of the sons of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages. But they did not dispossess the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites live in the midst of Ephraim to this day, and they became forced laborers there. Chapter 17. And this was the lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph. To Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, were allotted Gilead and Bashan, because he was a man of war. So the lot was made for the rest of the sons of Manasseh according to their families, for the sons of Abiezer, and for the sons of Helek, and for the sons of Azriel, and for the sons of Shechem, and for the sons of Hepher, and for the sons of Shemida. These were the sons of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the males according to their families. However, Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah and Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they came near before Eleazar the priest, and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the leaders, saying, Yahweh commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers. So according to the word of Yahweh, he gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers. Thus there fell 10 portions to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, which is beyond the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons, and the land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the sons of Manasseh. And the border of Manasseh ran from Asher to Mikmathoth, which was east of Shechem. Then the border went southward to the inhabitants of En-Tappuah. The land of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the sons of Ephraim. And the border went down to the brook of Kanah, southward of the brook. These cities belonged to Ephraim among the cities of Manasseh. And the border of Manasseh was on the north side of the brook, and it ended at the sea. The south side belonged to Ephraim, and the north side to Manasseh, and the sea was their border. And they reached to Asher on the north, and to Issachar on the east. And in Issachar and in Asher, Manasseh had Beth Shean and its towns, and Ibleam and its towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Taanach and its towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and its towns. The third is Napheth. But the sons of Manasseh could not take possession of these cities, because the Canaanites persisted in living in the land. Now it happened that when the sons of Israel became strong, They put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they did not dispossess them completely. Remember, that's what they were supposed to do. Then the sons of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, "Why have you only given me one lot and one portion for an inheritance, since I am a numerous people whom Yahweh has thus far blessed?" And Joshua said to them, "If you are a numerous people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself there in the land of the Perizzites and of the Rephaim, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you." And the sons of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who live in the valley, in the valley land, have chariots of iron, both those who are in Beth Shean and its towns, and those who are in the valley of Jezreel." Then Joshua spoke to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, saying, "You are a numerous people, and of great power. You shall not have one lot only, but the hill country shall be yours. For though it is a forest, you shall clear it, and to its farthest borders it shall be yours. For you shall dispossess the Canaanites, even though they have chariots of iron, and even though they are strong." Let's move on now to Psalm 148. Praise Yah. Praise Yahweh from the heavens. Praise him in the heights. Praise him, all his angels. Praise him, all his hosts. Praise him, sun and moon. Praise him, all stars of light. Praise him, heaven of heavens, and the waters that are above the heavens. Let them praise the name of Yahweh, for he commanded and they were created. He caused them to stand forever and ever. He gave a statute, and it will never pass away. Praise Yah from the earth, sea monsters and all deeps. Fire and hail, snow and clouds, stormy wind, doing his word. Mountains and all hills, fruit trees and all cedars, beasts and all cattle, creeping things and winged bird, kings of the earth and all peoples, princes and all judges of the earth, both choice men as well as virgins, the old with the young. Let them praise the name of Yahweh, for his name alone is set on high. His splendor is above earth and heaven, and he has raised up a horn for his people. Praise for all his holy ones, for the sons of Israel, a people near to him. Praise Yah. Now Jeremiah chapter 8. At that time, declares Yahweh, they will bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of its princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem from their graves. And they will spread them out to the sun, the moon, and to all the host of heaven, which they have loved, in which they have served, in which they have walked after, in which they have sought, and which they have worshipped. And they will not be gathered or buried. They will be as dung on the face of the ground. And death will be chosen rather than life by all the remnant that remains of this evil family, that remains in all the places to which I have banished them, declares Yahweh of hosts. You shall say to them, thus says Yahweh, do men fall and not get up again? Does one turn away and not turn back? Why then has this people, Jerusalem, turned away in continual faithlessness? They hold fast to deceit. They refuse to return. I have given heed and heard. They have spoken what is not right. No man regretted his evil, saying, what have I done? Everyone turned to his course like a horse charging into the battle. Even the stork in the sky knows her seasons, and the turtle dove and the swift and the crane keep the time of their migration. But my people do not know the legal judgment of Yahweh. How can you say, we are wise, and the law of Yahweh is with us? But behold, the lying pen of the scribes has made it into a lie. The wise men are put to shame. They are dismayed and captured. Behold, they have rejected the word of Yahweh. And what kind of wisdom do they have? Therefore, I will give their wives to others, their fields to new possessors. Because from the least even to the greatest, everyone is greedy for gain. From the prophet even to the priest, everyone practices lying. They heal the brokenness of the daughter of my people superficially, saying, "Peace, peace." But there is no peace. Were they ashamed because of the abomination they had done? They certainly were not ashamed. And they did not know how to feel dishonor. Therefore they shall fall among those who fall. And the time of their punishment, they shall be brought, at the time of their punishment, they shall be brought down, says Yahweh. I will surely gather them up, declares Yahweh. And there will be no grapes on the vine, and no figs on the fig tree, and the leaf will wither. And what I have given them will pass away. Why are we sitting still? Gather yourselves, and let us go into the fortified cities, and let us be silent there, because Yahweh, our God, has silenced us, and given us poisoned water to drink, for we have sinned against Yahweh. We waited for peace, but there was no good. For a time of healing, but behold, terror. From Dan is heard the snorting of his horses. At the sound of the neighing of his valiant steeds, the whole land quakes. And they come and devour the land as well as its fullness, the city and its inhabitants. For behold, I am sending serpents against you, vipers, for which there is no charm, and they will bite you, declares Yahweh. My sorrow is beyond healing. My heart is faint within me. Behold the sound, the cry of the daughter of my people from a distant land. Is Yahweh not in Zion? Is her king not within her? Why have they provoked me to anger with their graven images, with foreign idols? Harvest is past, summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the brokenness of the daughter of my people, I am broken. I mourn, desolation has taken hold of me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then has not the health of the daughter of my people gone up? Now Matthew 22. And Jesus answered and spoke to them again in parables, saying, The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding feast for his son. And he sent out his slaves to call those who had been called to the wedding feast. And they were unwilling to come. Again, he sent out other slaves, saying, Tell those who have been called, Behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fattened livestock are all butchered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding feast. But they paid no attention and went their way, one to his own farm and another to his business, and the rest seized his slaves and mistreated them and killed them. But the king was enraged, and he sent his armies and destroyed those murderers and set their city on fire. Then he said to his slaves, The wedding is ready, but those who were called were not worthy. Go therefore to the main highways, and as many as you find there, call to the wedding feast. Those slaves went out into the streets and gathered together all they found, both evil and good, and the wedding hall was filled with dinner guests. But when the king came in to look over the dinner guests, he saw a man there who was not dressed in wedding clothing. And he said to him, Friend, how did you come in here without wedding clothes? The man was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and throw him into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen." Let's see if there's a note on this one here. They should be. Here we go. I'll read the note from the ESV Study Bible because this one's good. The man who had no wedding garment. Everyone was invited, but proper wedding attire was still expected. There are two possibilities for what this means. First, there is some evidence in the ancient world for a king supplying garments for his guests. And more broadly, there is the story of God clothing his unworthy people in beautiful garments in Ezekiel 16:10 through 13. Jesus could be alluding to imputed righteousness, which Paul elaborates later. Thus, by not wearing the garments provided, this guest has highly insulted the host. Or two, the wedding garment may refer to a clean garment, symbolizing evidence of righteous works. In either case, the man lacks something that is essential for being accepted at the wedding feast. Verse 15 now. Then the Pharisees went and took counsel together about how they might trap him and what he said. And they sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are truthful and teach the way of God in truth, and defer to no one, for you are not partial to any. Therefore, tell us, what do you think? Is it lawful to give a tax to Caesar or not?" But Jesus, knowing their wickedness, said, "Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the tax." They brought him a denarius. And he said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" And they said to him, "Caesar's." Then he said to them, "Therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." After hearing this, they marveled, and leaving him, they went away. Why did they marvel at this? Well, what is created in the image of God? We are. We should serve God with all that we are and all that we have. Verse 23. On that day, some Sadducees, who say that there is no resurrection, they don't believe in resurrection or angels or anything miraculous, they don't believe anything happens after death. They came to Jesus and asked him a question, saying, this is probably their top thing that they would use to dunk on the Pharisees. "Teacher, Moses said, if a man dies having no children, his brother, as next of kin, shall marry his wife and raise up a seed for his brother. Now, there were 7 brothers with us, and the first married and died, and having no seed, he left his wife to his brother. So also the second and the third, all the way down to the 7th, and last of all, the woman died. In the resurrection, therefore," which again they don't believe exists. This is one of their ways to kind of attack it, right? "In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife of the 7 will she be? For they had all married her." Jesus answered and said to them, "You are mistaken, not understanding the scriptures nor the power of God. For in their resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. But regarding the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by God, saying, 'I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob'? He is not the God of the dead, but of the living." When the crowds heard this, they were astonished at his teaching. But when the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered themselves together, and one of them, a scholar of the law, asked him a question, testing him. "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" And he said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the great and foremost commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang the whole law and the prophets." How is that? the first section, the first commandment given, it's all about how we handle our relationship with God. It's vertical. The second one is how we handle our relationships with other people. Those are the horizontal laws. We talked about this before. The first 3 of the 10 commandments are encapsulated in the first one, and 5 through 10 are encapsulated in the second. On these 2 commandments hang the whole law and the prophets. Now, while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus then asked them a question, saying, "What do you think about the Christ, the Mashiach? Whose son is he?" And they said to him, "The son of David." That's a standard response, right? That's why when they would refer to Jesus as the son of David, they're referring to him by this messianic title. So then Jesus replied to them, saying, "Well, how then does David, in the Spirit, call this Messiah Lord, saying, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies beneath your feet'? Therefore, if David calls him Lord, how is he his son?" And no one was able to answer him a word, nor did anyone dare from that day on to ask him another question. That's all the text, and that is all of the notes for today. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.